Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Now let's get to the latest updates on Eberechi Eze plus injury updates. Now, over the last 10 days, it has felt like we actually don't have that many injuries, but we actually do. That's why you have updates on Havertz, on Norgaard, on Timber, on Ben White, and also on Gabriel Jesus. When is Gabriel Jesus going to be coming back? How long is Havertz going to be out for? Mikel has done his press conference ahead of the Leeds game. But first, let's start with what is going on right now. Eze obviously is undergoing his Arsenal medical. As confirmed by Fabrizio Romano earlier on, all club-to-club documents are signed ahead of Eberechi Eze's move to Arsenal. He is currently undergoing his medical contract and registration to be eligible against Leeds. Now, that was 4 hours ago, so I don't think it's going to be available for the Leeds game, as Team News and Tick says here. There is no chance Eberechi Eze will be registered in time to be involved against Leeds tomorrow. It is also unlikely he will be announced today. Now, listen, as I said in the previous video, I did not expect Eze to even be an Arsenal player. So in my head, he was not going to be available for the Leeds game at all. So I'm not really too concerned about Eze not being available for the Leeds game. Absolutely fine, as long as he's available for the Liverpool game next week. I mean, for him to be available for this game against Leeds, it would have been a bonus. It would have been a complete bonus because you only heard about signing him literally less than 2 days ago. And there was talks about him playing for Crystal Palace on the Thursday night. So we did not expect him to be in this game at all. We did not expect him to be breathing in and out fast because I'm still sick. But listen, we did not expect him. We did not expect him to be part of that game anyway. If he was, it would have been a bonus. So I'm not too worried about that one. Now, in terms of the announcement, Hand of Arsenal told us it's going to be today, but Team and Tick says it might not be today. Now, there's usually some delays sometimes with the paperwork and all that. So listen, it would be better maybe even to announce him tomorrow just before the Leeds game in the stadium. That would be better because the last time he announced to play in the stadium, it was over in is it Singapore? So this one for the fans of the Emirates Stadium, everyone very excited about this signing. It would give everyone a boost right before that Leeds game. So I have no worries about him being announced for the later game of tomorrow, not today. But let's see, it still might happen today. And if they got the paperwork across the line before the time, you never know. So let's see what happens with the Leeds. But his medical is ongoing. Mike Keegan said this earlier today as well. The add-ons in Arsenal's deal for Eberechi Eze are almost guaranteed, and the payment terms are more favorable than those proposed by Tottenham Hotspur. So the add-ons, the 7.5 million, they're guaranteed, just like the Gyökeres one. Sporting wanted guaranteed add-ons in terms of appearances, and we added goals into that as well. And there was a top 4 clause in there as well. If finishing the top 4, we give them a little bit of money as well. So for Eze, maybe something to do with appearances as well. Maybe if maybe even he plays against Crystal Palace a couple of times this season, maybe pay them money, like all that. They can include anything they want in that deal. And listen, I think he is worth that money anyway. I thought he was actually worth more than that, around maybe 70, 75 for me, because he's Crystal Palace's most important player. But age obviously is a factor as well. He's 27 years of age. This is his prime. Not too far away from 30, I guess. 3 years away. So, and I was actually not sure how long. I'm still not sure how long he had remaining in his Crystal Palace contract. But the most important thing is now we have the player. That is all that matters. The add-ons, no problem. 7.5 million. I think it's worth it. If this player comes in and is the difference between us and winning the league, is worth that. Maybe should even give them more money than that. So that is what Mike Keegan had to say about that one. And also this was very interesting. Mike Keegan also said Arsenal have tweaked their recruitment style this summer by aiming to ensure that there are no backups, but instead a larger pool of starters. The target is for there to be no noticeable drop in talent when players are injured or rotated. Listen, I absolutely agree with that. Last season, I mean, we didn't even really have a bench, man. Last season, almost everyone was injured, so we didn't even really know who was first team and second team. Most of our first team players were injured. But the previous seasons, you can tell who's the first team player and the second team player. We knew that, Jesus was a starter and Ketia was a backup. We knew that who am I forgetting? We knew Gabriel and Saliba were starters, and Kivio and Tomiyasu went fit, you'd be a backup. We knew that, Declan Rice is a starter. We knew that Partey at that point is a starter. Jorginho was a backup at that point. You knew Odegaard was a starter. Smith Rowe could come off the bench. Nelson could come off the bench. Nketiah could come off the bench. All those players were backups. We knew all of those players were just backups. 3 seasons ago, El Neni was the backup. All those players, those guys are backup. Cedric Suarez. This time around, it's not as obvious as that. Now, obviously, we do have players that are definite starters and other players that are backups. Like Gabriel and Saliba are fasting for sure. We know Kiwi and Mosquera are backups for them. Saka is definitely a starter, in Madueke we know will be a backup for him. Odegaard, for example, there's a certain Noneri will be a backup for him. But some might argue, you never know. Noneri has been playing really well as well. Maybe they should be rotating. And for the other positions, we don't know who's going to play. Is it going to be Martinelli or Trossard? Is it going to be Zubimendi or Norgaard? Is it going to be, Gyökeres, you can argue, is also a first-team player, but, Havertz came on for him the other day. If both are fit, you never know. Havertz might start some games, Gyökeres comes in. So there's a lot of competition in the team. Midfield, goalkeeper area as well. Kepa has been was good for us in preseason. You never know. But for me, Raya is the best goalkeeper in the league. But it feels more like, rotation more than just saying backups. The team feels better when you look at the bench and you see Trossard and maybe an Eze, and you see Eze is probably going to be a starter. But for the game next week, let's say you look at the bench and there's Eze, there's Trossard, there's Madueke, there's Norgaard, there is Mosquera, there is Kivio, maybe Calafiori, Lewis Kelly, the fullbacks especially, Lewis Kelly and Calafiori, and then on the right side, Timber and Ben White. Those players, you don't really feel like those are, backups. No, Calafiori plays, I'm okay with it. Lewis Kelly plays, I'm okay with it. So it doesn't really feel like it's a backup. So that is a great position to be in. You have great competition all around the team. You have great competition for all the other players. That is exactly what you need. Now, Gabriel Jesus, injury news. Now, Mikel was asked about Gabriel Jesus, and this is what he had to say. Gabriel Jesus is going super well. He looks in a really good place. It's a massive injury. He needs to come back from there in a strong way. He's certainly in the right place. Now, like a month ago, there was talks about Jesus leaving. I always doubted it because of that long-term injury. But, since, he let go of Tomiyasu and he canceled the contract and he moved on, I was like, hey, you never know. Maybe you're going to do the same with Jesus. Maybe, go back to Brazil. He's been there for his recovery. Maybe he wants to go back there for time to recover and then join a team there on loan, maybe come back, or maybe, get sold. And because of the high wages, I thought, maybe you can actually sell him, especially because of those high wages. But it has always looked unlikely. So I think Jesus will be here next season. When will he come back? Atta says he's progressing well. We'll read through the rest of the article or through the rest of the conference, the article on Arsenal.com. He'd still listen. If Jesus is fit between, let's say, January and May and doesn't get injured, he's a bonus for us more than, a minus. It's great to have a Jesus in your team as a backup, no problem. But I'm a little bit worried about those injuries, especially the left knee and the right knee, getting ACL injuries, and that is his style of football, twisting and turning around, will he lose that ability? I don't know. And obviously his age as well, approaching 32. So not 32, 30. TOO. That's what I mean. He's also approaching 30. I don't know how he's going to recover, to be honest. I really don't know how he's going to recover, but I think he's going to be here next season unless something changes between now and the end of the transfer window. But that is what Mikel Arteta had to say about Jesus. He's recovering well. Now, that is not the only update we had today. We also had updates on 4 other players. So let's get through it, starting with this one. So on Kai Havertz, Mikel Arteta said, well, he's certainly not fit for this match, unfortunately. We don't really know yet the extent of it. I think we need a bit more time and some more tests. And after that, we'll have more clarity about the next steps. I prefer not to talk about the specifics, but he's not fit, as I said, and we need to explore that issue a little bit further and decide what we are going to do. The worst scenario is that he cannot play tomorrow. I would love to have him fresh and available, bringing what he brings to the team, but unfortunately that is not going to be possible. He was also asked, how he's handling the situation. He said, well, mentally he's in a good place because he's a really strong boy, very committed. He had an incredible recovery from the hamstring injury. I think he'd never had an injury before. It was the first experience. Yeah, that's why it's so crazy. Havertz never really picks up injuries, and all of a sudden he has two different injuries, two potential long-term injuries as well, just like Ben White as well. Ben White was a very durable player. I guess, you can be durable for 10 years, but you won't be durable for 15, 20 years. There comes a point where, you're going to start getting injured, especially Ben White and Havertz have been playing a lot of games ever since Brighton days, Chelsea days, and now Arsenal days. The two of them have been playing a lot of football, so maybe the injuries were always going to come, unfortunately. Now he's got a setback. Let's see how bad it is, but I'm sure he's going to deal with it in the best possible way. Now, on Ben White, Norgaard, and Timber, Christian won't be in the squad. With Ben, let's see how he reacts and what we decide. Christian will be out for another week or so. So, turns out to be Norgaard was not on the bench last week, probably because of the injury. I thought he was just left out of the squad, or maybe he was actually just left out of the squad, and then he picked up an injury through earlier this week, because he wasn't in the open training on Wednesday. So that means he was already injured. Now, in terms of midfield, if we have someone coming on for Zubimendi, it's going to have to be Merino or a Rice. If one of them is on the bench, you're going to have to use them there. Zubimendi will have to, carry through until next week. No problem. If it's a 1 week thing, that is absolutely fine. He's going to be back soon as well. But Christian Norgaard is still not going to make his Premier League debut at least until next week. With Jurrien and Timber, with Ben, let's see how he reacts and what we decide. And then Christian will be out for another week or so. So for Ben White, we're waiting to see. He might make the game against Leeds, his former team, but let's see. On Jurrien and Timber, we have to manage his load. Obviously, he's been out for a long time again, and he comes from a long-term injury. We had a long week. We have to manage the load on that. So we have decided to take a little bit of training down, especially that day in the open session. So for Jurrien and Timber, he didn't train, or he missed a few parts of the training. We are managing his load, so that makes me think, is he going to really start that game against Leeds? Doesn't have to. Even if Ben White is out, I guess you're going to have to use Mosquera there, or you're going to have to, use a different kind of tactic. Sometimes, I used last season, used Partey as a right back, and then, coming into midfield, and then you have three defenders. A little bit risky this early into the season, a little bit risky when that team has quick wingers like Nonto, so you have to play the right back. So I guess it's a chance for Mosquera to start a game. Because at centre back we have Gabriel and Saliba, so I guess you can start Mosquera, keep Timber fresh for next week, and we have a lot of games coming up, so no need to rush Timber, no need to rush Ben White, no need to rush Norgaard. We have games coming up. No need to rush Eze as well. We have games coming up from next week, and then an international break, and then hopefully we can get through these 3 games unbeaten, beat Leeds, and then pick up a result against Liverpool. A win would be absolutely amazing. And then after the international break, hopefully everyone is back fit. He was also asked about Jesus, as we've said, he said it's a really, really good place. We've already gone through that one. And there's no injury concerns surrounding Victor Gyökeres, but Mikel was asked if it was always the plan for a new forward to just play an hour on his debut. He said, well, it depended on how the game developed. He explained every game brings different challenges and opportunities. Yeah, I don't think it was the plan to play him 60 minutes. I think the way the game was going and he wasn't getting too many touches on the ball, and Havertz in that kind of game will come and see it through in terms of coming back and defending, and the players were more used to playing with Havertz. So in that kind of game, I guess, it was a better idea to bring on Havertz. It worked. We got the win, no problem. He's very enthusiastic. He trained really well this week again. He's had another week under his belt, and he looked in a really good place. So let's hope he can open up his Premier League account this weekend. That is what we need. Yeah, I wish I could go through and break down one by one, but I'm not quite 100%. I'm like Christian Norgaard. I feel like I'm going to be out for at least 1 more week before back to full energy. But listen, positive news. Let's wait and see how the Eze medical goes, and let's wait and see how the rest of the players recover as well. And if Eze can end up making his debut against Leeds, I doubt, but hey, still good news, positive news on the injury front. Ben White might be there for the Leeds game. Timber, we are managing his injury load. Norgaard, it's only 1 week. Havertz, I mean, from what you're hearing, may not be that long, so that could be great. If it's like a month or something, or less than 2 months, then that would be very, very good. So that is the latest. Let me know what you make of it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.